Okay, so now let me start with the portfolio planning. So today, let me talk about the portfolio construction. See, when we create a portfolio for any client, it is not universal. It means it is not like that we can create a standard portfolio and we can advise the same portfolio to everyone. So the portfolio for any client depends upon the client's objective. Okay, so on the basis of client's objective, on the basis of risk profile of the client, on the basis of assets and liabilities, what happens? We prepare a plan. So that plan is documented and it is called investment policy statement. And this investment policy statement is very, very important because it works as a base. For example, you come to me and ask for a plan creation and I create a plan for you. And both you and me are agreeing upon that plan. Okay, both you and me are agreeing upon that investment plan. So it will become a base. It means how I have to invest for you in the future. Okay, what you thought of and you agreed. So it becomes a base. So investment policy statement is very, very important basically from portfolio construction point of view. So it is a planning tool, we can say. So before we start working on the financial plan, so we can say it is a planning tool which actually disciplines us. Okay. So again, before developing an investment policy statement, an investment manager must conduct a fact-finding discussion with the client. So as a planner, as a manager, investment manager, I will take what I will do. I will get a questionnaire fulfilled from you. I will try to find out the facts. I will try to find out some figures. I will try to understand that what you want, what kind of portfolio you want, and then only I will create a portfolio. So as I said, IPS serves as a roadmap. So it decides how much money to put where, what should be the portfolio mix. Okay. Then again, it guides the action कि क्या करना है, कैसे करना है, किस टाइम तक करना है, क्या क्या ऑब्जेक्टिव्स हैं, ठीक है, जो पोर्टफोलियो मैनेजर है उसका परफॉर्मेंस कैसे मेजर किया जाएगा. So this investment policy statement actually works as a base. So this is investment policy, we can say, statement. Now these are the different components of an investment policy statement if we talk about. Okay, so first is introduction. So in this part, what happens? We describe the client. Okay, how many dependents are there? What is the age? So generally information regarding the clients are there. Then in that investment policy statement, we write down the purpose. That what is the purpose of making this IPS? Duties and responsibilities of the clients as well as manager. See, for example, what is the duty of a client? I am an investment manager. I am creating a plan for you. So what are your duties? Your duties are that whatever I recommend you, so it is your duty basically to follow it. What is your duty again as a client? That you have to provide me the correct data set so that I can create a plan on the basis of that data set which actually suits you. And as an investment manager, what are my duties? My duties are to recommend you a plan according to your profile only. So we write down all the duties and responsibilities. Procedures. See, if generally what happens, if everything is fine, there are no disputes. But for example, if anything wrong happens in the future, then what procedures we will be following? So in case of unforeseen events, how we are going to react? So that kind of procedures we mention. So investment objectives. So what are the client needs? So for example, we specify that how much required rate of return client actually wants. What is the risk tolerance level? It means how much risk a client can take. So that all kind of things we mention here. Then we have investment constraints. It means there can be constraints. So for example, I cannot invest my money for a long term because I want money after 2 years only. So this is a kind of constraint to me. So I want liquidity. Because I want liquidity, so I cannot put my money into long term assets which can yield greater return. तो मैं उस जगह पर पैसा नहीं लगा सकता हूं जहां से मुझे ज्यादा रिटर्न मिल सकती है. So that is a constraint. Okay, for example, again there can be some legal or regulatory kind of constraints. For example, what is happening that if I put my money for short term, then I have to pay more tax on some instrument. So I want to put my money there, but because of higher taxes, I am not putting the money. So these kind of different constraints can be there in making a plan. So as a planner, I am thinking, okay, this should be done, this should be done, this should be done. But there are some constraints because of which I am not able to do, I am not able to provide the same plan which should be there. So they are constraints. Investment guidelines. So guidelines, it means what kind of products I can use, what kind of products I cannot use, what kind of assets are allowed to include in portfolio creation, what kind of assets are not allowed. So that kind of things are here. Then we evaluate and review. So in how much time period we will review, in how much time period we will give a revision. So all that kind of stuffs. Then appendices, it means may specify the portfolio strategic asset allocation or portfolio rebalancing policy. So these are the different you can say components of an investment policy statement. क्या ये point clear होता है? Harsh, is it fine?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Siddhi, is it done?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Now, what kind of risk objective if we talk about? So when we prepare an investment policy statement, तो client क्या करेगा? अपने risk objective, return objective mention कर सकता है. So question is risk objective. So कैसे mention कर सकते हैं? There can be absolute risk objective, there can be relative risk objective. So absolute risk objective means no decrease in portfolio value during any 9 months period. कि पोर्टफोलियो की वैल्यू 9 मंथ्स के मतलब 9 मंथ्स तक डाउन रहे तो चलेगा, लेकिन इससे ज्यादा टाइम पीरियड तक हमारी पोर्टफोलियो की वैल्यू नीचे नहीं रहनी चाहिए. या फिर हम स्पेसिफाई कर रहे हैं कि माय पोर्टफोलियो वैल्यू शुड नॉट कम बिलो 5%. एक साल के अंदर 5% से ज्यादा नीचे नहीं जाना चाहिए. सो दिस काइंड ऑफ रिस्क आई एम स्पेसिफाइंग कि मैं सिर्फ इतना ही रिस्क ले सकता हूं. दिस इज एब्सोल्यूट रिस्क ऑब्जेक्टिव. Relative, as the name says, in relation to. I am specifying the risk in relation to any other thing. So for example, I am specifying that the return of my portfolio should not be lower than the return of this particular index. So that kind of relativity. No greater than a 10% probability of returns more than 2% below the return on the Nifty over any 12-month period. So it means the probability maximum 10% can be chance that my return on the Nifty is below 2%. Okay, so that kind of relativity is there. I am specifying on the basis of some index, for example, कि maximum 10% ही probability हो कि मेरी जो portfolio की return है, probability of returns more than 2% below the return of the Nifty, कि 10% से कम ही probability होनी चाहिए कि जो निफ्टी की रिटर्न है उससे 2% कम हो. अदरवाइज 90% केसेस में क्या होना चाहिए, 90% ये होना चाहिए कि हमारे पोर्टफोलियो की रिटर्न निफ्टी की रिटर्न से ज्यादा है या कम है, तो मैक्सिमम 2% कम हो, उससे ज्यादा कम ना हो. So that kind of relativity, I can specify the risk objective. Now again, there can be return objectives. So for example, we are saying from our portfolio, we should be able to earn 20% return. This is absolute. Or in relative terms, I'm specifying that the return should be greater than Nifty and it should be greater by 2%. So that is relative. Okay. So this kind of risk return again can be specified. Okay.
So these are your own notes or Caesar notes?
No, this is not the notes. So these are the bulleted points basically, which are discussed in your curriculum.
No, I'm asking because there is a example of Nifty 50, that's why.
So again, we can take Nifty. I am just explaining it from point of view of Nifty so that ultimately what happens, so that you can easily, clearly understand.
Okay, sir.
Now let me talk about willingness and ability to take risk. When we talk about risk tolerance, it has two parts. One is willingness and one is ability. One is ability to take risk and one is willingness to take risk. So what do we mean by it? Willingness, whether we are willing to take risk or not. Ability, whether we can take risk or not. So there are two things. So ability, for example, let us say that I have short time horizon. It means I want money after 1 year only. So because I want money after 1 year, it means I cannot take much risk. So it means my ability to take risk is lesser. My ability to take risk is lower. Again, let us say that I have a lot of dependents on me. If I have a lot of dependents on me, it means my ability to take risk is again less. Let us say my income is less. Because my income is less, so I cannot take much risk. So again, my ability to take risk is less. For example, I have large liabilities. So again, I cannot take much risk. So ability means whether we can take risk or not. Whether my position allow me to take risk or not. Willingness. For example, there is a person who says, okay, I will never invest in stock market. I will never put my money into real estate. I will always put my money into fixed income instruments. If I invest in the equity market, then I want this much high return. So that is willingness. It means there might be a possibility that investors financial position allows. हो सकता है कि इन्वेस्टर की फाइनेंशियल पोजीशन अलाउ करती है, पर्सनल सिचुएशन अलाउ करती है कि वो ज्यादा रिस्क ले सकता है, लेकिन वो रिस्क लेना ही नहीं चाहता. So that kind of thing is basically what? That kind of thing is basically willingness to take risk. Okay, so there are two things. One is ability to take risk and one is willingness to take risk. So if we combine these two factors, it tells what is the risk tolerance level. So now the question is, there might be a possibility that investors' ability to take risk is low and willingness to take risk is low. It means risk tolerance level is low. As simple as that. There might be a possibility that we can take higher risk, investor can take higher risk, ability is high, and also he is willing to take more risk. It means risk tolerance level is high. The problem comes where one thing is higher, one thing is lower. So now let us see, if willingness to take risk is higher than the ability. So ability is suitable of risk. It means we want to take a lot of risk, but my ability, my position doesn't allow. So it is better that I go with my position. If my position doesn't allow that I cannot take much risk, so it is better that I go with this ability. Now willingness is lower than the ability. If this is the situation, it means client financial position is good. Client can take risk, but he is not willing. He is not willing to take risk. So what we will be doing? So as an investment manager, I will advise them, I will educate them, I will give the information, I will try to find out what are the apprehensions, I will try to remove the apprehensions, and then I will try to increase the willingness to take risk. And then what we can do, we can put it in risky asset. But still, if the client is reluctant, he is again saying, okay, आपने सब कुछ बता दिया, अब मैं थोड़ा सा कन्विंस हूं, लेकिन मैं अभी भी रिस्क नहीं लेना चाहता, तो ठीक है, नहीं लेना चाहते हैं तो फिर हम क्या करेंगे? We will go with the willingness. We will go with the willingness, as simple as that. Is this point clear? Nandini, is it fine?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Today you got late a bit. No issue. Sarthak, is it done?
Yes, sir.
Harsh?
Yes.
Okay. So now let me move on to the next slide. So as I said, there are different constraints. So liquidity, time horizon, tax consideration, legal, statutory, unique circumstances. So we have already discussed them. You can read it. I am giving you 1 minute because we have already discussed it. You can just go through them. I hope it is done.
Yes, sir.
Now let me talk about the asset allocation. See, we can have strategic asset allocation. One is strategic. One is tactic. So what is strategic asset allocation? So according to the strategy, we are investing. Okay, according to our strategy, long-term strategy, we are investing. Now, what is tactical asset allocation? So by chance, what happens? I find that now there is an opportunity to earn more money. There is an opportunity to earn more money. So what happens in tactical allocation? That although I am going with the strategy, but I am using some tactics so that I am able to earn more return in a short time period. मान लीजिए मैंने बोला कि मैंने 60% इक्विटी में रखा है, 40% I have put in debt. Okay, 60% हमने कहां पर रखा? इक्विटी में. 40% कहां पर रखा? डेट में. ओके, अब क्या होता है? इक्विटी मार्केट बहुत डाउन हो जाती है एकदम. इक्विटी मार्केट इज डाउन. आपको लगता है इक्विटी मार्केट डाउन है तो डेफिनेटली इक्विटी मार्केट बहुत ज्यादा गिर गई है, तो हम क्या करते हैं? डेट में से कुछ पैसा निकाल के यहां पर लगा देते हैं. जैसे वो बढ़ जाएगी तो हम प्रॉफिट बुक करके फिर अगेन वी विल पुट दैट मनी इनटू डेट. So it means I have a strategy of keeping 60% in equity, 40% in debt. but what I am doing in between, if I find some opportunity to earn some extra return, so I am using the tactics and changing that asset allocation for a short time period. So we call it as tactical asset allocation. So we call it as a tactical asset allocation. Okay, and when we create a portfolio, we have already seen जितना कम correlation होगा उतना ज्यादा diversification का benefit होगा. If my correlation coefficient is less than +1, even if it is not negative, I am saying if it is less than +1, even if it is 0.99, even if it is 0.98, then too we have diversification benefit. Then too we have what? Diversification benefit. तो जितना ज्यादा लो कोरिलेटेड सिक्योरिटीज को हम लोग ऐड करते जाएंगे अपने में पोर्टफोलियो में, उतना ज्यादा डाइवर्सिफिकेशन बेनिफिट हमें मिलता है. आई होप दिस पॉइंट इज क्लियर टू एवरीवन. Okay, now please just read this. I have already discussed this tactical asset allocation and this. So strategy we know, according to the strategy. Tactical I told you, yes. देख लीजिए एक बार. I hope it is done. Strategic and tactical.
Just a minute.
Okay. Okay. Now security selection. Again, this is a strategy where what we are doing, we are following an index, but we are changing the weights. So for example, there are 5 securities in that index. This is 30%, this is 20%, this is 10%, and so on. So I'm just changing the weights. Okay. So we can say this is security selection, and in risk budgeting, this thing happens. So deviating from the prescribed weights, तो जो भी हमने प्रिस्क्राइब कर रखे थे वेट्स कि हम हमारी स्ट्रेटेजी के अकॉर्डिंग इतना हमें इस एसेट क्लास में डालना है, इतना इस एसेट क्लास में, इतना इस एसेट क्लास में डालना है, तो हम क्या कर रहे हैं, वी आर जस्ट चेंजिंग इट. वी आर चेंजिंग दोज प्रिस्क्राइब्ड एसेट क्लास वेट्स ताकि हम लोगों को और ज्यादा रिटर्न मिल सके. सो वी कॉल इट एज रिस्क बजटिंग. So we try to outperform the benchmark. Okay. So हम क्या करते हैं कि हमने जो पॉलिसी में, इन्वेस्टमेंट पॉलिसी स्टेटमेंट में फॉर एग्जांपल लिखा था, तो हम जितना जितना लिखा था अब उसको चेंज कर रहे हैं. So we call it as risk budgeting because now we are ready to take more risk, but ultimately we want to outperform. जो हमने डिसाइड किया था उससे outperform करना चाहते हैं. So that is called as risk budgeting. Now, again, describe the principles of portfolio construction and role of asset allocation. Now, there are certain issues in active strategies. What are the issues in active strategies? Active strategies means actively we are managing the portfolio. We are not simply following a benchmark. That is active. Okay, so what might happen? For example, I have 100 million USD to be managed. And what I am doing, I am hiring different managers. I am not giving all of the money to only one manager. Okay, so one problem is that there might be a possibility that this manager is managing separately, this manager is managing separately, this manager is managing separately, ये भी अलग manager separately manage कर रहा है, इसने buying selling की, इसने buying selling की, इसने buying selling की, इसने buying selling की. इस मैनेजर को मान लीजिए 20 मिलियन मिल गए थे, ये मैनेज कर रहा है, इस मैनेजर को 20 मिलियन मिल गए थे, मैनेज कर रहा है। तो ये अपने अकॉर्डिंग ही बाइंग सेलिंग विद इन द पोर्टफोलियो कर रहे हैं। तो हो सकता है कि बहुत ज्यादा हम लोगों की क्या हो गई है, इट इज नॉट एफिशिएंट फ्रॉम टैक्सेशन पॉइंट ऑफ व्यू, हमारी इतनी ज्यादा प्लस माइनस हो रही है कि हमें टैक्स बहुत ज्यादा पड़ रहा है। ओके, फिर क्या हो सकता है, मान लीजिए मैंने डिफरेंट एसेट क्लास के लिए डिफरेंट मैनेजर्स हायर कर लिए। ओके, तो जितना मैं रिस्क ले सकता हूं, जितना मैं रिस्क ले सकता हूं, हो सकता है कि ये अलग तरीके से रिस्क मैनेज कर रहे हैं, ये अलग तरीके से, ये अलग तरीके से, ये अलग तरीके से। ये कह रहे हैं कि ओके मेरे पास 20 मिलियन है, तो मुझे 15 मिलियन के ऊपर रिस्क कम लेना है, 5 मिलियन के ऊपर रिस्क मैं ले सकता हूं। इन्होंने भी कहा कि ओके मैं 10 मिलियन के ऊपर रिस्क कम लेता हूं और 10 मिलियन पर ले लेता हूं। नाउ मैं सोच के बैठा था कि ओके ओवरऑल 80 मिलियन पर मैं रिस्क ले सकता हूं। अब क्योंकि मैंने अलग अलग मैनेजर को अपॉइंट किया, तो वो सारे मैनेजर अपनी अपनी परफॉर्मेंस को अच्छा करने के लिए मैनेज कर रहे हैं, और वो ये भी चाह रहे हैं कि अल्टीमेटली द वैल्यू शुड नॉट गो डाउन। तो वो क्या कर रहे हैं, एक रिस्क मेंटेन करने की कोशिश कर रहे हैं। वो कह रहे हैं कि ठीक है हम थोड़ा कम भी रिस्क लेते हैं, कुछ ही पैसे के साथ रिस्क ज्यादा लेंगे। तो इससे पता चल रहा है ज्यादातर पैसा मेरा कहां पर इन्वेस्ट हो गया, ज्यादातर पैसे के साथ रिस्क लिया ही नहीं है। I could have taken the risk on 80 million USD, but for example because of this thing what is happening, मैं कितना रिस्क मेरे पोर्टफोलियो में 50 मिलियन एसेट्स तो रिस्क फ्री एसेट्स में पुट कर दी गई है फॉर एग्जांपल, क्योंकि कोई नहीं चाहता कि पोर्टफोलियो की वैल्यू उसकी डाउन हो या नेगेटिव में चली जाए। नेगेटिव में चली जाएगी तो प्रॉब्लम खड़ी होगी ना, हो सकता है कि मैं उसे पोर्टफोलियो मैनेजर, इन्वेस्टमेंट मैनेजर अपना हटा दूं, तो इस डर से उसने ज्यादा रिस्क लिया ही नहीं। सो इस तरीके की प्रॉब्लम आ जाती है। Okay, now there is a way to address these issues to use a core satellite approach. अब इस तरीके के issues को हम कैसे दूर कर सकते हैं? We can follow a core satellite approach. And what is that core satellite approach? Look at it. So what we are doing, whatsoever we want. So if I talk about the core, what do we mean by core? It means मैं कह रहा हूं मेजरली तो ये ऐसा होना चाहिए, मेरा पोर्टफोलियो मेजरली ऐसा होना चाहिए। So we can say we are putting money passively. So जो पैसिवली मैनेज्ड फंड है उसके अंदर हमने एक लेवल ऑफ पैसा डाल दिया है, और बाकी जो बचा पैसा है उसको हम क्या कर रहे हैं, अलग अलग स्ट्रेटेजीज के बेसिस पर, एक्टिव स्ट्रेटेजीज के बेसिस पर कुछ पैसा, जो थोड़ा पैसा बच गया है उसको हम अलग अलग जगह पर लगा रहे हैं। तो इससे हुआ क्या, जो अलग अलग मैनेजर से मुझे क्या था, या तो ये हो सकता था कि मुझे रिटर्न बहुत ज्यादा नहीं मिल रही है, या फिर ये था कि टैक्सेशन पॉइंट ऑफ व्यू से वो इतना बेनिफिशियल नहीं है, तो मैंने ज्यादातर पैसा एक पैसिव फंड में लगा दिया फॉर एग्जाम्पल, या पैसिव रेप्लिकेट कर दिया है पैसिव फंड को, और बाकी कुछ के अंदर मैं अपनी एक्टिव स्ट्रेटेजीज यूज करके उसको थ्रू इन्वेस्ट कर रहे हैं। दिस इज कॉल्ड सैटेलाइट। और जो पैसिवली मैनेज्ड फंड के अंदर लगाए इसको बोलते हैं हम कोर। So we can create a strategy like this also. Yes, this is called core satellite approach. Now there are environmental social governance, ESG. आजकल आप लोगों ने देखा होगा ESG considerations. So what are ESG factors? It means we are removing certain industries on the basis of ESG, or we are including, we are just skipping that ESG factors. So that kind of thing. So imposing portfolio constraints based on ESG factors. It means, for example, a portfolio is to be created and I have put a restriction that if the business is environmentally, socially, and from governance point of view is more risky, then at the time of this portfolio construction, I should not put money into that kind of companies which have environmental risk, or we can say social risk, or risk from the point of view of governance. So what will happen in that portfolio? If I am not taking that kind of risk, there is a possibility that risk return is impacted. Okay, so when we talk about ESG norms, it means we are talking about that good corporate governance. Okay, so here we have 2-3 concepts. So one is negative screening. Negative screening refers to excluding specific companies from the portfolio based on ESG factors. So if we have removed the companies on the basis of ESG factors, so we call it as negative screening. It means we are removing them. And if I have created a portfolio putting that restriction that I will not put money in companies where ESG norms are low, or where you can say ESG related risk is high, so logically सोचिए, can I compare the portfolio return with the index return? Index के ऊपर तो कोई constraint है नहीं, so I cannot compare it. It is not appropriate to compare the return. Now, positive screening. So now how I am looking at, I am saying okay, मैं उनको नहीं देखता हूं कि जो कंपनी फॉलो नहीं कर रही है. Now let us think from different approach. I am saying I will invest in that kind of companies which are following ESG practices. तो नेगेटिव स्क्रीनिंग में क्या था, इसको हटाओ, इसको हटाओ, इसको हटाओ, ESG के बेसिस पर रिस्क ज्यादा है. मैं कह रहा हूं हटाने की बात मत करो, मैं उन्हीं कंपनीज को सेलेक्ट करता हूं जो अच्छी ESG प्रैक्टिसेस फॉलो कर रहे हैं. तो एक तरीके से आप देखिए, ग्लास आधा पानी का है तो भरा हुआ है या खाली है, उस वो अप्रोच की बात है. ओके, सो दिस इज कॉल्ड पॉजिटिव स्क्रीनिंग. ओके, thus portfolios and performance benchmark must be customized under the approaches. Yes, similarly thematic investing, it means theme based investing. There are certain thematic mutual funds also. It means we have set a theme. For example, there is a theme that I will create a portfolio in a theme, that a theme of what? Infrastructure development. So all those industries which contribute to the infrastructure development, so I have set a theme that I will put my money into all those industries which are important from development point of view, country's development point of view, so I will put my money there. So that kind of theme we can create, and we can have that kind of style management. Okay, other things can be there. So for example, engagement or active ownership investing. Okay, so what is happening here? We have some ownership and we are using that platform, and we are binding company to follow ESG practices. तो हम क्या कर रहे हैं, मैनेजमेंट को इन्फ्लुएंस कर रहे हैं, क्योंकि हमारे पास ओनरशिप है. हम कह रहे हैं कि आप ESG जो प्रैक्टिसेस है उनको फॉलो कीजिए. So this is related to ESG, important points related to ESG. So now let me see. Please, everyone try these questions. Is it done? Are these 3 questions done?
Yes, sir.
Just a second, sir. Last doing third one.
Okay. No issue.
Done, sir.
Try these questions also.
Yes, sir.
Shanai, is it done? Siddhi, Nandini?
Yes, sir. Done.
Doing, sir.
I hope it is done.
Yes, sir.
So let you check your answers. Now next 4.
Sir, explain the sixth one now.
Before 6th, 6 से पहले और सभी के सब करेक्ट हैं. फर्स्ट सेकंड थर्ड सभी के करेक्ट हैं.
Yes,
सर
sir.
मेरा सेकंड रॉन्ग है. 1 मिनट चेक करती हूँ. Yes, sir. Got it.
Got it? Okay.
Yeah.
फोर्थ वन की बात करते हैं. फोर्थ देखिए एक बार आंसर. A client exhibit an above average willingness to take risk, but a below average ability to take risk. So while assigning an overall risk tolerance, the investment advisor is most likely. अभी हमने देखा था ना. He is willing to take risk, but he cannot take risk. So what I will say, okay, you cannot take risk. Your position doesn't allow you to take more risk. So it is better that you take lesser risk. So correct answer is C. Clear होता है? भाई सामने वाला रिस्क ज्यादा ले ही नहीं सकता. उसके मन में तो है कि मैं बहुत रिस्क ले लूं और रिस्क ले सकता हूं मैं, लेकिन हम कहेंगे कि आपकी पोजीशन अलाउ नहीं कर रही आपको रिस्क लेने के लिए, तो बेटर है कि आप मत लो. इज इट डन?
Yes, sir.
Now, for asset allocation purposes, asset classes should be specified such that the correlations of the returns are relatively high with each asset class and low among asset classes. It means, for example, we have equity share. We have equity mutual fund. For example, debentures, FD. Now, question is, how can we classify? So we can, for example, say there are two asset classes. One is equity. One is, we can say debt. So what we are doing, equity and debt as an asset class, do they have higher correlation or lower correlation? Do they have higher correlation or lower correlation? They have lower correlation. Okay, higher correlation means I'm talking about +1. When I say higher correlation, it means +1. Now in this equity, what I can keep? Equity share and equity mutual fund. So within this equity asset class, whatsoever securities I am placing, so do they have higher correlation or lower correlation?
Higher.
So it means within the asset class, securities have higher correlation, and among the different asset classes, the correlation is lower. So which one is correct? B1 is correct. Are you getting the point?
Yes, sir. Thank you.
I hope it is fine with everyone.
Yes, sir.
Okay. So this one is done.